When you commit to giving more than you expect to receive, life commits to giving you more than you ever imagined. A young man once asked an old shopkeeper, "How did you build such a successful business in a small town?" The shopkeeper smiled and replied, "Simple. I served people long before I expected anything in return." The young man frowned, puzzled. The old man leaned in and said, "The world pays you back with interest, but only after you've paid it forward." This is the forgotten law of service: give first, then receive. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be listening from tonight, whether in the quiet of your living room or in the hum of a late-night workspace, I want to speak to you about a law older than civilization itself, yet as fresh as tomorrow morning's sunrise. It's the law of service: give first, then receive. A principle so simple, so steady, so unfailing, that those who grasp it find themselves carried toward success as surely as a ship rides the tide. We live in a world where many wait for life to hand them the reward before they lift a hand to offer their contribution. Yet the truth is astonishingly clear: no man, no woman, no enterprise has ever received anything of value until they first delivered something of value. This is the quiet foundation of every business, every friendship, every meaningful achievement in human history. The universe, it seems, has arranged itself in such a way that we must give before we get. And the more sincere our service, the richer our return. Here is a central truth I want you to remember. Write it down, repeat it, etch it into your habits. To receive more, become more useful. That single idea has elevated ordinary people into pillars of industry and transformed struggling endeavors into thriving institutions. All because usefulness, service, creates value, and value is the only currency the world pays for. Think for a moment about the people you admire most. The great leaders, the innovators, the problem solvers. What do they all have in common? They serve generously, consistently, and without keeping score. They approach every day asking not, "What will I get?" but "What can I give?" Their contribution becomes their magnet, drawing opportunities, trust, and prosperity toward them. You see, when you offer your best, your attention, your skill, your kindness, you activate one of life's most dependable mechanisms. A mechanism that works quietly in the background, arranging circumstances in your favor. Service is never wasted. It always returns, often from places you never expected. And in your own life, this law begins with small changes. Decide to be the person who shows up early, who listens fully, who helps willingly, who works a little longer, who cares a little deeper. Every act of service adds to your value account, and soon the world begins to respond. People start seeking you, not because they have to, but because you've become someone worth seeking. Service is the seed, reward is the harvest. And like all great truths woven into the fabric of life, this one operates quietly, without fanfare, without demanding recognition. It works in the same way a farmer works with the soil, by placing something of value into the ground long before expecting anything to rise from it. In life, as in nature, there can be no harvest where no seed has been planted. Yet so many people stand in the fields of their days waiting for crops that were never sown. They hope for prosperity, recognition, opportunity, and fulfillment, forgetting that all these things are but the results of earlier acts of service. The universe, in its unwavering fairness, insists upon contribution before compensation. When we understand this, we discover a sense of calm power within ourselves. We are no longer victims of circumstance, waiting for someone to give us a chance. Instead, we become creators of our own future, planting seeds of service wherever we go. Through our effort, our kindness, our attention to detail, our willingness to help, our insistence on doing more than what is required, each seed becomes a silent promise to the future, a guarantee that results will come in their own time, just as surely as the seasons change. A person who serves with sincerity begins to feel a quiet confidence, for they know they have paid the price in advance, and life always pays its debts. Think of service not as labor, but as investment. Every gesture of usefulness, every moment spent creating value for another person, every instance where you choose to give rather than hold back, becomes a deposit in the great account of your life. And this account, though invisible, is always growing. The rewards may not come immediately, and they may not come in the form you expect, but they do come, and often in ways far greater than the effort you originally gave. For service has a way of multiplying itself, returning to you through people you've never met, opportunities you never predicted, and circumstances you could never have orchestrated by force alone. Most people misunderstand the nature of reward. They see it as something to chase, something to demand, something owed to them simply for wanting it. But reward is not a cause, it is an effect. It cannot be pursued directly. It is attracted, drawn naturally toward the individual who has become a source of value. Just as a magnet does not chase iron but simply pulls it close, the person who consistently contributes will find opportunities moving toward them almost effortlessly. This is the quiet dignity of service. It transforms you into someone the world wants to reward. What makes this truth so extraordinary is that anyone can apply it, regardless of where they are or what they possess. You don't need wealth to give effort. You don't need status to give kindness. You don't need permission to offer excellence. The smallest act of genuine service, performed consistently, becomes the beginning of a remarkable journey. It shapes the mind, strengthens the character, and sets the individual apart in a world where so many are waiting to receive before they give. When you embrace the idea that service is the seed and reward the inevitable harvest, you step into a way of living that guarantees growth, fulfillment, and a future built not on chance, but on the steady law of cause and effect. No one receives more than they offer. This simple truth, overlooked by many, quietly governs every corner of life. It echoes through every profession, every relationship, every dream ever pursued. Life, in its precise and unwavering balance, returns to each of us a measure proportionate to what we contribute. Yet most people stand on the shoreline of their desires, waiting for waves of reward to arrive without ever stepping into the water to create the motion themselves. They hope, they wish, they expect, but they do not offer. And because they do not offer, they do not receive. When a person finally understands this principle, something shifts. They cease to look outward for compensation and begin to look inward for value. They stop asking, "What am I getting?" and start asking, "What am I giving?" It is in that moment that life begins to respond in extraordinary ways. The world has never withheld reward from the person who consistently adds value. It simply waits until the offering has been made. This is not punishment but structure, an elegant design built into the very nature of existence. You cannot withdraw from a bank in which you have made no deposits. You cannot reap a harvest from a field you have never tended, and you cannot expect life to give you more than you are willing to give to it. Those who rise, who succeed, who find themselves blessed with opportunities and relationships of depth and quality, do so because they have become individuals of contribution. Their reward is not an accident but a reflection. They give more of themselves, more effort, more sincerity, more attention, more discipline. They approach each task with the intention of lifting it beyond the ordinary. And because they offer more, they become more. Life, recognizing the abundance they bring, mirrors it back to them. There is no mystery in this. The person who outgrows average effort outgrows average results. The one who pours their energy into excellence finds excellence returning to meet them. And even in small moments, when no one is watching, when no applause is expected, the extra inch willingly given becomes the extra mile later received. The universe, it seems, keeps impeccable records, not of what we want, but of what we give. What makes this principle so empowering is that it places the keys entirely in your hands. You do not have to wait for permission or perfect timing. You do not have to rely on luck, circumstance, or the goodwill of others. You simply have to decide that whatever you touch, you will enhance. Whatever you attempt, you will enrich. And whatever you hope to gain, you will begin by giving more. For in the final analysis, life does not reward desire, it rewards contribution. Giving creates the space for receiving. It is one of life's quiet paradoxes that nothing new can enter a closed hand. That which clings, withholds, or guards too tightly leaves no room for anything greater to arrive. Yet the moment we give, whether it is our effort, our attention, our time, or our talent, we open a channel through which life can move. We clear a path, making ourselves available to receive what we could not have access before. This is not mystical, it is deeply practical. When we give, we expand. When we expand, we create capacity. And life, ever attentive, fills that capacity with opportunities that match the openness we have created. Most people do not realize that the very things they desire are blocked not by lack, but by their own unwillingness to release what little they already possess. They protect their energy so fiercely that they forget energy grows only through use. They guard their knowledge so carefully that they never discover knowledge multiplies only when shared. They hesitate to help others, fearing there will be less left for themselves, unaware that contribution enlarges the person who makes it. When you give, you become bigger on the inside, and life responds by giving you something bigger on the outside. Once a person understands this, they no longer fear giving. They give freely, not recklessly, but confidently, knowing that offering value creates a natural vacuum life must fill. A musician who shares their gift creates space for recognition. A worker who gives extra effort creates space for advancement. A leader who pours into others creates space for loyalty and trust. And an individual who helps without expectation creates space for blessings that return in forms far beyond what they gave. Giving is not loss, it is preparation. It enlarges the vessel before the rain arrives. This principle also reshapes the way we approach each day. Instead of asking, "What's in it for me?" we begin asking, "What can I contribute here?" That simple shift changes the atmosphere around us. It changes relationships, because people naturally gravitate toward those who uplift rather than demand. It changes opportunities, because doors open for those who create value rather than consume it. And it changes our internal world, because giving strengthens our character, deepens our purpose, and sharpens our skills. The truth is that receiving is not something we chase, it's something we attract by who we become. And we become larger, stronger, and more capable every time we choose to give. When you understand that giving creates the very space into which your future blessings will flow, you stop waiting for life to change and begin actively preparing for what you want by offering your best to the world today. The marketplace, like life, mirrors your contribution. It reflects back to you not your hopes, not your wishes, not your intentions, but the tangible value you bring into it. People often look at the world around them and see only competition, difficulty, and barriers, but the truth is far simpler. The world does not resist anyone, it merely responds. It responds to effort, to excellence, to consistency, and to service. Whatever you send out returns to you, shaped in the form of reputation, opportunity, and reward. The marketplace is a great teacher because it is impartial. It does not play favorites. It does not reward excuses. It rewards performance, usefulness, and the steady habit of giving more than is expected. Once a person understands this, frustration begins to disappear. Instead of feeling overlooked or undervalued, they begin to examine what they are offering. They start to see the direct line between their contribution and their results. If they want greater opportunities, they offer greater effort. If they want better relationships, they give better understanding. If they want a rise, they begin by raising the quality of the work they do today. Life does not withhold success, it simply waits until the individual has become equal to what they seek. And the marketplace reflects that transformation with precise accuracy. Many people misunderstand this principle. They believe that luck plays the dominant role, or that some are born into favorable circumstances, or that success is distributed unevenly by chance. But chance cannot sustain a person, nor can luck build a lasting foundation. Eventually the truth emerges, people rise to the level of the value they consistently create. The individual who becomes more valuable to others becomes more valuable in every area of life. That value might be skill, insight, reliability, creativity, or the simple ability to solve problems that others avoid. Whatever form it takes, the marketplace sees it, recognizes it, and mirrors it back. This is why the most successful individuals carry a quiet confidence. They understand that they control the cause, and life handles the effect. They do not worry about outcomes because outcomes are guaranteed when the input is strong, sincere, and persistent. They pour themselves into learning more, serving more, refining their craft, and becoming a person whose presence makes things work better. And as they do, the world reflects this higher standard right back to them through trust, respect, demand, and opportunity. What makes this truth empowering is its fairness. No matter who you are or where you begin, you can elevate the value you bring and the world will recognize it. You don't have to convince anyone. You don't have to wait for permission. You simply improve the contribution, and the reflection improves with it. The marketplace mirrors your contribution, and when you raise what you give, you inevitably raise what you receive. Value attracts value with magnetic certainty. This principle operates in every corner of life, quietly shaping the flow of opportunity and determining who rises and who remains where they are. You cannot draw abundance into a life that offers little, nor can you attract excellence while giving only what is convenient or comfortable. The world is not moved by the desire to receive, it is moved by the demonstration of worth. When you cultivate value within yourself, through knowledge, skill, character, and service, you become a magnet to the very things you seek. People are drawn to those who elevate their surroundings, who bring clarity instead of confusion, solutions instead of complaints, and effort instead of excuses. And because life mirrors what you offer, it responds with opportunities that match your level of contribution. Most individuals wait for something external to change before they commit to improving themselves. They wait for a better job, a better environment, a better moment, never realizing that improvement begins within and radiates outward. A person who becomes more valuable today increases their earning power tomorrow. A person who learns more today expands their influence tomorrow. Value compounds quietly like interest in a savings account, and soon the world begins to notice. Promotions, recognition, trust, and connections follow those who invest consistently in their own growth because value is impossible to hide. It rises just as surely as a flame spreads its light in a dark room. The law is simple. You must become equal to what you want to attract. If you seek respect, embody integrity. If you seek opportunity, be the kind of person who creates it. If you seek abundance, cultivate habits that produce it. Nothing drifts toward the unprepared or the unwilling, but everything gravitates toward the individual who consistently raises their standard. When you improve your thinking, refine your attitude, and strengthen your skills, you send a clear signal to the world that you are ready for more. And life, attentive to every signal, adjusts accordingly. This is why you often see people rise seemingly overnight. What appears sudden is merely the unveiling of value long cultivated beneath the surface. For years they prepared, learned, contributed, and grew until the world could no longer overlook their presence. They did not chase success, they became the kind of person success seeks out. And you can do the same. Every new skill learned, every book studied, every act of service, every moment of discipline, all of it builds the inner reservoir of value that silently shapes your destiny. Value attracts value. It draws opportunity from familiar places and from unexpected ones. It turns strangers into allies and challenges into stepping stones. It creates a pathway where none existed before. And the moment you commit to becoming a person of greater value, the world begins its quiet work of rearranging itself in your favor. Your future expands with every act of service. Each time you extend yourself, each time you offer help, effort, or understanding, you are not simply performing an isolated act. You are stretching the borders of who you are and what you are capable of becoming. Most people believe their future is shaped by luck or circumstance, but the truth is far more reliable. The future responds in direct proportion to the value you create today. Every act of service is like laying another stone on the path ahead, making it wider, stronger, and capable of supporting greater opportunities. You may not see the full structure forming yet, but each contribution becomes part of the foundation on which your tomorrow will stand. Service has a curious way of influencing your destiny. It expands your character, broadens your perspective, and deepens your understanding of people and problems. When you serve, you compel yourself to grow, because service always demands more of you than staying still does. It draws out hidden abilities, strengthens the muscles of patience and empathy, and sharpens your capacity to solve problems. Over time, this steady inner expansion creates outer possibilities you could not have imagined at the beginning. Life seems to rise to meet those who rise to meet the needs of others. There is also a profound psychological shift that takes place when service becomes a habit. You stop approaching life as a passive observer and begin participating as a creator. You begin to sense that you are not waiting for opportunities, you are preparing for them. And preparation is the soil in which future success grows. The act of giving more, doing more, and contributing more lifts you above the ordinary rhythm of life. It separates you from the countless individuals who offer only the minimum required. And when you step above the ordinary, extraordinary doors begin to open. People often speak of wanting a bigger, brighter future without realizing that the size of that future is determined by the size of their contribution. A limited effort creates a limited horizon. A generous effort creates an expansive one. When you decide to serve beyond what is convenient, you break through invisible boundaries, boundaries set not by the world, but by your own habits, fears, and assumptions. Each act of service pushes those boundaries outward, giving you more room to move, to grow, and to become. This is why those who serve wholeheartedly seldom remain at the same level for long. They rise not because someone chooses them, but because they have expanded to the point where greater opportunities naturally fit them. The future opens for those who open themselves to service. It grows for those who grow into someone the future can trust. And with every moment you give your best, you stretch the edges of your potential and make space for a life larger than the one you know today. The person who serves more becomes indispensable. In every field, in every relationship, in every endeavor, there comes a point where a person's consistent contribution elevates them above mere participation and makes them irreplaceable. This is not a result of arrogance or self-promotion, but of reliability, skill, and a commitment to adding value beyond expectation. Indispensability is earned quietly day by day, act by act. The world notices the individual who consistently steps forward when others hesitate, who offers more than is required, and who meets challenges with both competence and care. Such a person is no longer simply part of the system. They become the system's cornerstone. Many individuals seek recognition and reward without understanding the path to it. They believe that being noticed is a matter of chance, that success depends on luck or circumstance, that opportunity is something to be stumbled upon. Yet those who become indispensable understand the deeper principle: it is not the accolades that matter, but the habitual giving of value, which naturally attracts trust, respect, and opportunity. The person who serves more creates a dependence not out of manipulation but out of necessity. The organization, the team, the community, or the network comes to rely on the unique contribution that only they provide. Indispensability grows from consistency. It grows from showing up fully, from approaching each task with diligence and attention, from offering assistance when no one is asking, and from seeking solutions rather than assigning blame. These habits, repeated over time, cultivate a reputation that cannot easily be ignored. Colleagues, leaders, clients, and friends begin to notice the difference between those who merely occupy a role and those who elevate it. They begin to understand that the success of a project, a business, or even a relationship is tied to the presence of the person who serves more than anyone else. Indispensability is the natural consequence of consistent excellence and unwavering commitment to others. There is also a personal transformation that occurs in this process. The individual who seeks to serve more becomes stronger, more confident, and more capable. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable are approached with skill and composure. People around them gain confidence in their abilities, and in turn, the opportunities available to them expand. The influence of the indispensable person extends beyond their immediate actions. It shapes culture, sets standards, and creates a ripple effect that elevates everyone around them. Indispensability is not about control or recognition. It is about becoming someone the world cannot afford to be without. Those who grasp this principle realize that true power and security do not come from position or title, but from value. The person who consistently serves more becomes essential because they have mastered the art of being useful, of solving problems, of making life easier and better for those around them. And in that mastery, life itself begins to reward them in ways that are both predictable and profound. Lasting success is built on helping others succeed. This is a truth that transcends time, culture, and circumstance, yet it is often overlooked in the rush to achieve personal gain. Many people pursue success as if it were a solitary endeavor, believing that advancement is measured solely by what they accumulate for themselves. But those who understand the deeper principles of life know that true and enduring achievement is inseparable from the ability to lift others along the way. When you invest in the growth, well-being, and triumph of others, you are simultaneously investing in your own future. Success in its most reliable form is never taken. It is given, nurtured, and shared. Consider the nature of influence. People are drawn to those who make them better, who provide guidance, insight, or opportunity that strengthens their potential. A leader who dedicates time to develop the skills of their team, a friend who offers encouragement when obstacles arise, a professional who elevates colleagues through collaboration. These individuals create a ripple effect. The value they generate does not remain static, it multiplies. Those they help grow in confidence, capability, and opportunity, and in turn, these individuals support, recognize, and champion those who first aided them. Helping others succeed establishes a network of reciprocal growth that extends far beyond what can be measured in the moment. The path to lasting success also demands patience, empathy, and consistency. It is not enough to provide occasional assistance or fleeting support. The person who truly elevates others does so continuously, with sincerity, and without expectation of immediate return. Each act of guidance, each gesture of encouragement, each instance of sharing knowledge or resources is a building block. Over time, these contributions compound into a reputation for reliability, wisdom, and generosity. People come to trust and rely on such individuals, and opportunity naturally gravitates toward those who have created value in the lives of others. Success, in this sense, is less a destination and more a reflection of the cumulative impact one has on the people around them. Helping others succeed also shapes character in ways that solitary ambition cannot. It fosters humility, teaches perspective, and strengthens resilience. You learn to measure victory not merely by personal advancement, but by the progress of those you serve. You discover that your greatest achievements are often intertwined with the triumphs of others. And the irony is striking: as you pour yourself into lifting others, your own path becomes clearer, your goals more attainable, and your influence more profound. Life rewards generosity of spirit with opportunities, respect, and fulfillment far greater than any act of self-interest could ever produce. The law of service operates silently but unfailingly. It does not announce itself with fanfare. It does not demand recognition, and it does not bend to impatience. Yet, like the invisible currents of a river, it moves with inexorable precision, carrying those who align themselves with its flow toward greater opportunity, fulfillment, and success. Many people fail to notice this law because it requires patience, persistence, and a focus on giving rather than receiving. They look for immediate reward, quick acknowledgement, or tangible gain, not realizing that the most powerful forces in life work quietly, building momentum over time until results appear inevitable. Understanding this principle begins with recognizing that service is a form of action that precedes reward. The world responds not to intention alone, but to demonstrated usefulness. When you provide value, whether in the form of knowledge, effort, time, or kindness, you set into motion a chain of events that ultimately returns to you. This is not a matter of luck, coincidence, or favoritism. It is the natural order of things. The universe operates on a principle of balanced contribution must come before compensation, giving before receiving, effort before outcome. Those who grasp this law gain a profound sense of control over their lives, for they know that their success is a reflection of their own actions, not external circumstances. The silent operation of the law of service is also its greatest strength. Unlike rules enforced by authority, it does not punish, it does not discriminate, and it does not fail. It simply functions with perfect reliability. Each act of genuine service, no matter how small, creates momentum. It builds character, establishes trust, and cultivates influence. Over time, these incremental contributions accumulate, creating opportunities that seem to arrive unexpectedly, yet are entirely predictable when viewed through the lens of cause and effect. Those who ignore this law often wonder why their efforts stagnate or why progress seems elusive. The answer is simple: they are attempting to receive before they give, to harvest before planting, to claim without contributing. Those who align themselves with this principle experience a quiet power that is difficult to describe but impossible to ignore. They become magnets for opportunity because they consistently place themselves in the flow of value. People are drawn to them, situations resolve in their favor, and resources become available when needed. Success ceases to be a matter of chance and becomes a matter of course. The law of service is impartial, consistent, and ever-present, working behind the scenes to reward those who embrace it with patience, integrity, and unwavering commitment. By committing to serve first, you set yourself in harmony with one of life's most dependable and powerful forces. Every great life is built on the habit of giving. The most remarkable achievements, the most enduring success, and the most meaningful relationships are all rooted in the simple, yet profound, act of offering value before expecting anything in return. Those who achieve greatness understand that life responds to patterns, not to intentions alone. By consistently giving, whether it is time, effort, knowledge, or encouragement, they create a rhythm that attracts opportunity, builds trust, and cultivates influence. Giving becomes not a task but a way of life, a habit so ingrained that it shapes decisions, actions, and ultimately destiny. Habits are the silent architects of our future. They operate beneath the level of conscious thought, forming the structure upon which character and achievement are built. When the habit of giving takes root, it transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary results. Each day becomes an opportunity to contribute something meaningful, to lift someone else, to solve a problem, to go beyond what is required. Over time, these acts compound into a reputation for reliability, generosity, and excellence. People notice, opportunities emerge, and the world begins to respond in ways that seem almost effortless. The habit of giving does not demand recognition. It quietly builds influence and establishes a foundation that supports everything else you seek in life. Giving is not limited to material or tangible things. Time, attention, respect, knowledge, encouragement. These are all forms of giving that carry immense value. The individual who consistently offers these forms of service becomes indispensable, magnetically attracting opportunity, collaboration, and trust. Life, in turn, mirrors this generosity. The rewards may appear gradually, often in ways that exceed expectation, but they are a direct reflection of the effort and value consistently offered. Those who embrace this habit understand that giving is not a transaction but an investment in the future, a principle that multiplies silently until results emerge in full force. The habit of giving also shapes the mind and the heart. It cultivates empathy, patience, resilience, and perspective. It teaches the individual to focus on contribution rather than entitlement, on purpose rather than mere pursuit. Each act of giving strengthens character and sharpens judgment, providing clarity about what truly matters. Those who master this habit rarely find themselves without opportunity or support, because they have learned the timeless truth. The person who habitually gives becomes a person the world cannot ignore. They do not chase success, they embody it. And as the habit of giving deepens, life's rewards follow naturally, forming a trajectory that lifts the individual higher than they could have reached through self-interest alone.